such a mouthful. Chaturanga is a pose that is very common in vinyasa flows, so it's really important that we really know how to do this pose correctly with proper alignment and work our way into the full posture, building strength to get there so that we prevent injury in our rotator cuffs and in our low back. And so that way when we move through our vinyasa, we really get what we need out of this pose, which is strength. Chaturanga Dandasana is translated in English to four-limbed staff pose. So you have your limbs, 1, 2, 3, 4, and staff meaning this rod. So if you turn to your side, you're starting from your ankle, drawing an imaginary line up through the side of your hip right here where this little bony part is, coming up through the sides of the ribs, all the way up to the ear. And we're creating a straight line, a rod, and we're doing so by tilting our pelvis posteriorly. So what that means is kind of tucking that booty under, drawing that belly button in towards the spine, and creating this nice, really straight line throughout our body. And in essence, you're going to keep that straight line and slowly lower it towards the ground in one motion. So a lot of times you'll see in Chaturanga, people will kind of have their booty back and their chest forward, but we want to keep the hips in line with the shoulders, with the ear, with the ankle, and slowly lower to the ground. So a good way to practice this is to come to the wall, pressing your heels against the wall, pressing your low back and your shoulders and even through the back of the neck. And what the wall does is just fine. It makes us kind of have this straight line with our body. So draw the belly button towards the wall, take the elbows by your side, draw them in and let your hands come forward. The elbows are going to be at 90 degrees. And this posture right here is essentially what we're going to be doing, but we're going to be doing it horizontally instead of vertically. So you can practice this just to kind of get that alignment. Coming onto our mat, if you have 2 blocks, they're really, really helpful in starting to build tricep strength before you move into the full posture. So if you don't have blocks, you can take a couple of textbooks. Our blocks are going to be on the medium setting and they're going to be shoulder distance apart. You're going to take your hands and place your middle finger against the blocks, and we're going to start working into this pose by coming onto our hands and our knees first. We're coming into, we're going to start in a plank position actually, because we want to find that core engagement, start to really engage these muscles. Drawing the belly button up and in towards the spine and not locking out the arms, but always keeping a slight bend in them. So number 1, you really want to keep this core engagement as we move through our chaturanga. So you can start to feel this heat building in your core, and our spine and our ankles and our ears, they're all in one line. So that's number 1. We really want to focus on keeping that staff or that rod position. And you can come onto your knees, which is where we're going to go next. You can still keep that line from your ear to your knees. And we're going to practice this just because it's a little bit less body weight. Number 2, the elbows are going to stay in towards the sides. Keep those hips low. We're not bringing them up or down too much. Keep that line. And then the elbows are only going to bend to 90 degrees. So this is where the blocks become really helpful. You're going to lower your chest down to where the shoulders tap the blocks. So you're keeping those elbows in, tapping the blocks with your shoulder, and then pressing right back up. So you can keep doing this to build tricep strength. And as you do it a couple of times, you'll kind of feel it in your triceps, but keep those hips low. Number one, core is engaged. Number two, elbows stay in towards the sides, and then you lower to where the elbows are at 90 degrees. So they don't bend to more than 90 degrees. The chest doesn't come down with the hips up. But go ahead and get those two motions down. And then coming up. Number three, as you lower, you're going to breathe out. So take a big breath in, engage that core, keep those elbows into the sides, and then exhale, lower down, and then press right back up. So those are the first three components to a proper chaturanga. Eventually, you can remove the blocks and you can practice lowering to that 90 degrees with your elbows, keeping those hips in alignment, and then maybe pressing right back up, developing that tricep strength. And then maybe taking the knees up off of the mat, coming into the full posture. Keep that core engaged, elbows stay in towards the sides. Once you're on your hands, you're going to shift forward slightly to where the where the shoulders come past the wrist and towards the fingertips. So you can move back and forth a few times and really grip down into the mat with your fingertips. So number one, keep that core engaged, keep that nice long line here in your plank. Number two, those elbows only lower to a 90-degree angle. Lower on your exhale and breathe out. Yep. Stopping here. You'll see a lot of times the chest come down and people scooping into that upward facing dog, but we want to keep that alignment with our spine, lower to that 90 degrees, stop here, come up onto the tops of the feet, and then rise up for upward facing dog, lowering the hips down. And then of course you can shift into your downward facing dog from there, moving through that vinyasa flow. So 4 components. Core is engaged, nice long spine. You're lowering down in one motion, not with the hips first, not with the chest first, but slowly lowering towards the ground. And then you're stopping when your elbows get to 90 degrees, which is a lot of tricep strength. So practice tapping your chest onto the blocks, keeping everything in line first to develop that strength. Lowering on the exhale, and then not scooping into your upward facing dog, but stopping at that 90 degrees and then using that tricep strength to extend through the arms and come up with the chest. So practice this. Be patient with yourself. It takes time to develop this tricep strength, this core strength, and engage all of the things at one time. It is essential that you really develop the strength before you move into the full posture. And that way you can move through your vinyasas with a confident chaturanga that is really going to build all the strength in your body, which is really, really fun after a long time. So you will get there if you're not already. Use those blocks, practice, be patient with yourself. And I hope that you have a happy vinyasa flow. From my heart to yours. If you have any questions on this, any comments, I would love to hear and I would love to help you. So just send me a message. But happy chaturanga-ing.